Hello and welcome back to another Conquer the World video. After my last tutorial, I was bombarded with questions regarding the gameplay and certain mechanics, so I decided why not, I should make another tutorial not covering the basics, but more advanced tools and tips and tricks. So here it is, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Number 1. How to utilize Army AI. Your army is the strongest when you don't micromanage every single move, especially during endgame where the borders are the biggest and the troop count is the largest. Use army AI so it can clean up territory efficiently while you focus on strategy. Big disclaimer, never ever exclusively rely on AI in close wars, especially at important checkpoints. The army AI sole focus is to conquer every single tile. They will pass up on the opportunity to kill an enemy troop at the expense of conquering a random empty tile. I will quickly show you how to use army AI. For example, I started a war. I picked my red ones. This is a separate group. Attack Poland. Now, you see this is what I mean. That's another group. Instead of attacking this troop, it decides on conquering, and it will continue to conquer all the empty tiles as it sees fit. You see there's an empty spot here, but they want to conquer the empty tiles. This is why it's important to micromanage their moves. Move them around, make them attack specific troops so you can most use them efficiently. You see, it was passing up an opportunity to kill there. So yeah, that's why you have to be careful with manual control. But if used correctly, they will keep moving forward and I won't have to move 10 plus troops one tile at a time closer to the enemy's capital. Now, if you want to create a new army, you click this, you click it, and then once you click on a troop, these are a part of army group green, and then you can manually move them to border. For example, I want them in Poland. Let's say defend. Will it move? You see, they start moving. They start going. They want to go to the border with Poland. Number 2. How to use nukes. Nukes are newly added potential game-ending tools that allow you to completely wipe out a segment of the map of all troops, factories, and defenses. When used in the right hands, they can easily let someone turn the tide of battle and win the game. To unlock nukes, you need to buy 2 factory upgrades, Bomber 1 and Bomber 2 upgrades, uranium mining, and finally the uranium enrichment upgrade. After all of the upgrades are bought, you will be able to buy the manufacturing nukes upgrade. In total, nukes will cost you 785,000 coins. The manufacturing process is a bit different compared to other tools. Every 20 uranium ore manufactured will be converted into 1 enriched uranium, and you will need to manufacture 100 enriched uranium to create 1 nuke. Nukes are deployed and used just like airplanes, where you need to select the airspace tile and quote-unquote deploy the nuke. One caveat is that in the airspace you want to deploy, there can't be any enemy airplanes, so you will have to get rid of them first, preferably using fighters. Once the airspace is clear, you are clear to deploy your nuke and wipe out every troop on the selected tile. Beware, if your troops are in the explosion zone, they too will be destroyed. The best time to start preparing for nukes is once you are either around 100 factories or have bought most of, if not all, the important troop upgrades. This will allow you to protect yourself if anything happens during the time you are preparing your nukes. The best use case for nukes are breaking heavily defended capitals, punching stacked enemy armies such as UK covering every tile with its troops, or ending long alliance wars. Number 3. When and which troop upgrades to buy. Money is your number 1 most important resource, especially in the game's earlier stages. This is why it is extremely important to manage it well and buy upgrades in order of importance. This is why I suggest you guys avoid over upgrading your troops and focus on the main upgrade branch first, because this main upgrade branch increases both the attack, defense, and the speed of your troops simultaneously. Once you bought the main upgrades and are making a good amount of money, Extra upgrades become valuable as they specifically increase your troops' defense or attack. Then this extra upgrade allows you to outscale other countries and win more engagements. Also remember to either expand into other countries or buy factories manually, as with each upgrade your equipment consumption increases, requiring more factories allocated for supplies to use the same amount of troops. What I mean by this is, if I were to buy the full set of equipment upgrades, the same amount of equipment bar wouldn't be able to sustain it, and I would have to allocate more factories to this to be able to keep them, stocked up. Number 4, planes. Planes are relatively cheap and easy to use tools that allow you to get the edge over your enemies, even when the numbers are against you. Close air supports are useful for increasing your troops' damage and help destroy enemy navies, while bombers help destroy enemy factories and defenses. Fighters will let you take care of enemy planes, so I just upgrading close air support, then bombers first, and only reserving fighters if you know for a fact that the enemy is buying planes. You can use intelligence upgrade 2 for this. As you can see, I have put planes here. My troops are doing 4.2 damage here, while in some place other, they're doing 3.5. I've basically increased my troops' damage from nothing. But they do take damage over time, so you have to either keep pumping them out or make sure you have enough to take care of the whole thing. Anti-air is a second thing that is very situational but cheap. It won't stop everything, but it does punish bombing attempts and is great for defending key cities and capitals. Because of this, I only suggest buying it if you are making a lot of money and you know for sure that the enemy is manufacturing planes. Number 5, manpower upgrades and making lots of troops. In most available countries, you will either start with a low troop count or a large surface area. When this is the case, managing your manpower becomes second to managing your money in importance. Because of this, it is extremely important to buy the housing research upgrades and the government mobilization upgrades, which differ between democracy, fascism, and communism. It is very important to build a large army, as a large army mitigates the effects of losses during engagements, makes it easier to protect your country from different sides, and also makes expanding to different places simultaneously possible. A large army is a strong army. Number 6, overexpanding and exposing yourself. When against non-players, you can get too carried away with conquering everything you see. This can cause many problems if you are not careful. The first thing that can happen is that you can make yourself too big of a target and expose yourself to multiple enemies at once. For example, let's say you're Yugoslavia. If you expand to Romania, Austria, Hungary, Czechoslovakia, you will control the Balkans, but you'll also make yourself a big juicy target against USSR, Italy, Germany, and everybody around you. Unless you've been actively pumping out troops non-stop, you won't be able to stop them all. This is a good case. I don't know why USSR and Germany are not attacking. There's no way Yugoslavia can hold them off with this many troops. Second problem that can happen is if you don't have access to mainland like the UK. Even if you are successful at your expansions, you won't be able to hold them off unless you actively move troops to the mainland. Even with an upgrade advantage, you won't be able to hold off an army of 20 troops unless you have a number to match those. This is why I suggest conquering at a pace that matches your troop spawn rate, and never forget to buy manpower upgrades. What I mean by this is, for example, I have France here. I could move in like 5 troops, 6 troops, hell, I could move 10 troops, but I won't be able to hold off the entirety of the German army with 10 troops, because the game will actively spawn them at my original country before moving on to the mainland. And this will cause a problem. Even if Germany doesn't eliminate me, they will take what I have conquered and I will be back to square one. Number 7, additional upgrades. City defenses are cheap and effective when placed correctly. They are best bought at your country's capital, important choke points, and key coastal or border cities. Additionally, if you can spare the political power, you can also buy the defense effectiveness upgrade, which increases the effectiveness of every city defense present in your cities. Furthermore, it is important to not lose these cities you bought upgrades for, as if you lose them, it will be a lot harder to retake. Secondly, troop healing upgrades. As you can see here, these are worth buying after you have bought the important upgrades from the main infantry and once you already have a solid army. They help in long wars but won't save you early on. What I mean by this is once you bought what you need from the infantry tree and maybe you started building your tanks and you have a sizable army and your like front lines are set. If you want to go into a big invasion, you need your troops to be able to heal quickly, to move quickly, and that helps you achieve this. Number 8. When and where to expand. As strong countries like Germany, expanding to other smaller countries, especially early on, gives you the factory boost you will need to quickly buy upgrades, while simultaneously preventing other countries from acquiring that boost. In addition to this economical boost, you will also be creating distance between your capital and your front lines. By being aggressive early on, you can tip the balance of the map. What do I mean by this? When I'm Germany, I just started the game, I see the map like this. You know, I can easily take 2 troops here. I can easily take Czechoslovakia. I can easily take Austria. Heck, I could go all the way down to Hungary. And look at that. This will all be mine. What this basically does is it prevents, for example, if I take all of these, it prevents Poland from taking them and getting stronger. Me and USSR basically corner Poland in this space, and all they could realistically take just becomes Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia. That's it. They can't expand more. They have to buy factories. Look, I'm acquiring space. I'm acquiring better front lines compared to them. I am basically forcing them to take their ships and go somewhere far away to earn factories. In addition to this, I'm creating this distance. If Yugoslavia took these 3 countries, his border comes all the way across here. You see 1, 2, 3, 4 tiles. Only 3 tiles between him and my capital. That's dangerous. And I basically can prevent that by taking these myself, putting my troops here, bada bing, bada boom, I'm stronger. Number 9, buying factories. In this game, buying factories is best utilized when 1, you can't expand. 2, expansion period just ended. What I mean by this is when you're at the game and there's only like 4 countries left and they cover the entire map. Or 3, you have a very low factory count. Now what I mean by that is, for example, I'm Bulgaria. I have only 7 factories and I can't basically expand anywhere without getting punished. I have only 2 troops and everywhere else, maybe I can get lucky in Romania, but I can't take Yugoslavia if it's a player. I can't take Turkey if it's a player. So what I can do at this point is basically spend money trying to buy factories. And look at that, I'm already at 20 factories. I'm making a bit of more money. The thing is, factories are cheap early on, but as you can see, they snowball. I already maxed out. You can only buy 7, and if you want to buy more than that, you have to go and buy the industry upgrade. So once you're large and more developed and you have troops that have better upgrades, for example, if I am Germany, it doesn't make sense for me to buy factories manually. I can just go and take Czechoslovakia. I can just go take Austria. Heck, I can start a war with Poland. There you go. I got 20 factories and my borders expanded. The merit to this is also, once I take Poland, those 20 factories go to me, and that means USSR, who would have benefited from taking Poland, can't take Poland. So if I take all these countries here, USSR has to go either pick a fight with me or manually by his factories.